You know, when it comes to Hawaiian songs in itself, no other instrument can play a melodic line like a steel guitar can. I can actually caress the melody with the steel guitar.
The essence of steel guitar is the movement of the bar, the slide sound.
I always felt this way, that the steel guitar sort of gives Hawaiian identity, distinct identity, because it's an instrument that was invented here.
The steel guitar is synonymous with Hawaii. People from all over the world, every time you talk about Hawaii or Hawaiian music, that's all they can hear is a steel guitar.
I would like to go back and show you some of the early tools of the trade. Everybody was trying to figure out a way to make something that would work better than what they've had, which is natural. The first metal things that they used to slide on the strings were various things of whatever was handy. I know they used a pocket knife and metal pocket combs and things of that sort, but it was still far from satisfactory. The earliest steel slide bars that they used looked like this. Now, as you see, this is very thin, and it is marked with some things on the side to help you get a better grip. And these were some of the earliest ones they used. There were variations of these, of course, this being one here. Now, this is similar, only, as you can see, much thicker and indented for the hand. And so they used these. Now, the problem that they found with this type of a steel bar was when they moved the bar over, when you moved it out and back in and out, it would get hung in the strings. So, necessity being the mother of invention, as they say, somebody decided to round the end off, and they call that a bullet nose or a bullet end bar. Now, here's one in one of the original casings, a little cardboard tube that said, "Genuine stainless steel Hawaiian guitar, bullet end, steel." Now I'll take it out and show you. You see one end was a little countersunk for the thumb to hold it, and the outside end was rounded off, but was indented because at that time they had to turn these on a lathe, as I understand, and they had to have an area on the end for the lathe to grip. So it came out with an indentation on the end. But nevertheless, this allowed you to move in and out, as you can see, without getting the bar hung on the strings as before. Now, then later came variations of these. This is the one that I use now. You can see it's about 3/8 of an inch in diameter. And this is chrome, I think chrome-plated tool steel, which is very hard. Even sliding on the strings, they found an early usage of Monel steel that it was too soft and would ultimately get grooves in just from sliding it back and forth on the strings. So then they decided that it had to be much harder, so they used tool steel and chrome-plated it, which is like this one here. Now, Joseph K. Kuku is the one that is generally credited with perfecting the tools of the trade. When they went from the acoustic wooden guitars to playing with steel guitar, they had to find a way to get the strings up off of the neck, or the bar, when you slide the bar, would come in contact with the frets and make a terrible sound. So then they designed a nut that was used to place down on this area, as you see on this guitar here, to raise the strings up from the neck. Now, this guitar here is an early National, which is a resonator acoustic guitar, not electric. And this was a Spanish guitar model. This guitar was Pua Almeida's guitar, by the way. And it was a Spanish guitar model because you can see the wood neck. The Hawaiian guitars, as they call them, the steel guitars, the neck was the same as the body and square and hollow to give increased sounding, a soundboard. So this being a Spanish guitar and played as a Spanish guitar is, they had to put the nut on here to raise the strings up from the neck. Now Joseph K. Cuckoo did that. He also designed picks, and they have not changed much over the years. They look similar to a thimble, as you see, and they fit on the ends of the fingers, and the pick curls up over the end. So when you place your fingers on the strings, you get this. The thumb pick was originally made out of celluloid, now plastic, of course, and they were all usually one size, and to change the size to fit your thumb, everybody's fingers and thumbs were different. You had to boil it in some hot water to make it pliable and then fit it to your thumb. But basically, these have not changed a great deal. Well, my first exposure, I guess you would say, to steel guitar, we called it Hawaiian steel guitar, back where I came from in Ohio, was in the early 30s when the tent shows would tour all over the United States, especially in the middle section of the United States. And they were very popular then because there was limited entertainment available and limited money to go see it if it was available in the Depression days. So this tent show came through my hometown of Lima, Ohio, and they would come for one day and then move like a circus. And if you wanted to see the show, you had to go that day. Next day, the tent was gone. And so I had a friend that came from a well-to-do family, at least compared to our circumstances at home. He said, let's go see that show. I said, well, I don't have any money. How much does it cost? He said, I don't know. So we walked all the way out on the other side of town to the vacant lot to the tent. And it cost $1 to get in, and I'll never forget that because at that time I had never seen $1. I think I was about 11 years old or something. So we went in, and it was a troupe of Hawaiians. And I hadn't been in there, I guess, 2 minutes. And down on the left end was a gentleman seated playing this shiny metal instrument and making these gorgeous sounds. And it hypnotized me. I don't know why. And I don't think I heard anything else that day except that instrument. There were about 8 in the troupe, and of course the backdrop was a canvas one with volcanoes erupting and palm trees, you know, and all that exotic stuff to set the mood. And so that was a day that changed my life, even at that early age, because I fell in love with that instrument and it's never washed off. The song I am playing was written by my father in about the year 1939. The name of the song is Nalan.
My name is Alvin Kalanika'o Isaacs Jr. Everybody calls me Barney. And my professional name is Barney, and my father's name was also Alvin Kalanika'o Isaacs Sr. And his professional name was Alvin Kaleolani Isaacs. And he wrote many, many songs. I became interested in music because where we lived in Kalihi, we had a very, very large home. And my father was, at the time, he was in the police department after he graduated and married my mother. Both of them went to McKinley High School. And he had an accident while pursuing a criminal on his motorbike. And he received the bike toppled, and he had a very serious injury and had his disabled pension. As a result, because of not being mobile, he started to turn to music. And then after that, he completely changed his life and became a musician. He played with Harry Owens. He had his own big bands, and he had a lot of small combos. Then he had all these rehearsals at home because the house was so big. And we, the kids, we used to lie down on the floor, stay on the porch and listen to the band rehearse and these little Hawaiian combos. And we all became very interested in Hawaiian music, especially my two brothers and myself. One brother was Norman, and the other one was Ata Isaacs. All three of us became steel guitar players. Then as time went by, we decided one guy would play the guitar, one guy would play the bass, and then we could start our own trio. So with the help of my father, who taught us all the basics of all these instruments, we started our own trio and became Hawaiian musicians. We didn't play with each other all the time, but we started with each other and then branched off with different bands. And the second song I would like to play, I'll only play two of my father's songs, was also at the time a big hit here in Honolulu, and was composed about the same time as Nalani. The name of this song is Nalani E.
Well, here's my steel guitar that I have here. This one is from Japan. And many years ago, if you ever had anything that was made in Japan, it probably wasn't that good. But today, you know, this steel guitar that I have, called a Kanapa steel guitar, made in Japan, is an excellent one. And this reminds me of the old steel guitar that Gibson used to produce many, many years ago. Anyway, I'm going to be playing on this instrument, first of all, a tuning that, well, this is the most popular tuning I know, and my favorite. It's called the C6 tuning. Basically, every tuning that I use has an E on the top. Then a C, C, A, G, E, C. I have a B flat here on the 7th string and a low C on the bottom. Okay, now many steel guitars have 8 strings today. The steel guitars of yesterday had only 6. And if you go to a pedal steel guitars, he may have 10 strings or even 12, including pedals. And if I go any farther past 8, I get lost. So I'm gonna stick to 8. So anyway, in this tuning, I can play most of my songs. Now, some songs require certain tunings, okay? And when I say require certain tunings, in order to play them like how it was originally played, you have to have that tuning. Otherwise, it doesn't sound the same. But with this tuning, I can play anything from Hano Hano Hanalei to I want to go back to my little grass shack, you know? So, you know, that's Hano Hano Hanalei. No, I can play even Waipio. Okay, a little about the technique on the steel guitar. First of all, left hand. This is where you get your bar work from, your chords. This is where you get all your pitches, your vibrato. This is where the musicality comes in. You know, without the right left-hand technique, you can sound anything from this to, or even, you know, and anyway, you can sound terrible or you can sound more romantic. There's also different ways of angling the bar, like, for instance, something called the forward slant. I've been telling people about all these slants and I forget. Anyways, forward slant, straight bar, backward slant or reverse slant. Okay. Anyway, it takes quite a while before a person can truly master the bar. Took me all these years.
Performers are hard to find. A lot of questions come up. Why aren't there more steel guitar players? Well, I'll tell you, to be honest with you, my answer is we have to find a good guitarist. A steel player is going to perform well if he is backed up by an excellent guitarist. And most of us, we pick and choose who we want to have play guitar. Most steel guitarists would sort of have in the back of his mind who's going to be the guitar player. But as it goes today, we are in hopes that the younger generation would pick up the instrument and continue on with it. But the guitar, I do hope it continues on. This is should be part of Hawaii, and I insist that someone should keep it going.
I've never made fun of my instrument. It's been my life, and I take it very seriously. So I don't burlesque anything that I do. And I wanted, well, first time I came to Hawaii was in '64 for a week, and I went back and immediately started figuring out a way to get back. A lot of things happened in the interim. I did a lot of TV shows and recordings in Nashville for 23 years, and I decided, where can I go now where I can play what I want to play, when I want to play, if I want to play. And this is the only place in the world you can do that. So I came over here and stayed. And it was another dimension to my career. And finally, I think probably the most rewarding one in a way, because I want to give it back where I got it from. I think it's so important to Hawaiian music. And I've said in a lot of interviews and things that it's the signature sound of Hawaiian music. And when I say Hawaiian music, you really have to exclude Hawaii from that. I'm talking about the rest of the world as they perceive Hawaiian music, because the Hawaiians took steel guitar all over the world when they traveled and played. So outside of Hawaii, if it doesn't have a steel guitar, it's not Hawaiian to them. Now here, Hawaiian music can be anything, and is. So I want to give it back to the place I got it from, to the any of you young Hawaiian boys or local boys that want to learn to play this instrument. It's yours. I want to give it back to them, and if they're smart, they'll take it and use it to their advantage and play what they want to play. It's an instrument you can play any style you want, whatever you are, whatever you feel, you can play. It's the most individual instrument in the world. I've said you could line up 10 steel guitar players, say play the first 2 strings on the 5th fret and move to the 10th fret. No 2 of them would sound alike. It's that individual. When I came over here, different ones of my students would say they would ask somebody what tuning they're using. They'd say it's either a family secret or some kind of an excuse. So I said, well, I may be doing the wrong thing, but I'm gonna have to tell you their family secrets. So when you're finished with studying with me, you'll know all the tunings. You won't have to ask anybody about that. So that's not important anyhow. Just learn to play.
Let's talk about a little about the future of our steel guitar. And for a while, the future didn't look too good, because a lot of Hawaiian groups never used the guitar because of the resurgence of the slack key guitar. And also, we love the slack key guitar because that is the Hawaiian way of playing the steel guitar. You have about, maybe it must be about 50 different tunings, slack key tunings. And like a steel guitarist, the slack key guitarist, a lot of them have the pit tuning. And because of that, so many groups that were started, the guitar players were the lead instruments. So they didn't really need a Hawaiian steel guitar. And like I say, it sounds good, you know, but we think that the steel guitar is still the original sound that people used to like, you know, many years ago. And so we started, Jerry Bird came down here because he loved Hawaiian music. He played beautiful country western. And he came down here, he packed house and lot, and he has never gone back to live. He says he's going to just stay here the rest of his life. And because of him, not because of us Hawaiian steel guitarists, because we're kind of lazy and we don't have the patience, you know. Jerry has a lot of patience in teaching the steel guitar, and he has a system that he has all written out too. And we have Jerry Britt to thank very much for coming down here, because he is responsible for the resurgence of the steel guitar for younger people to learn the steel. I used to teach, but my system is a little slow, and I haven't taught for a long time. And so maybe Jerry and I might get together and start maybe in a studio opening classes, which I hope I can do. And we have some, because of Jerry, we have Alan Akaka, who is, looks like he's going to be one of Hawaii's greatest.
You know, Jerry Bird and some others say that, you know, in the next few years, you're going to be it, Alan. And I'm just thinking, you know, if I'm going to be it and they're going to be listening to me, I'd better practice. I got a long ways to go before I'm like them.